I'm Jason Bovada, and these are my 2023 NFL Week 2 picks. Okay, so you can see the NFL Week 1 Monday night game is still to be played. I have no pick in that game. The Buffalo Bills are on the road versus the New York Giants tonight. -2, but I'm just going to stay away from that game, right? I have no idea who's going to win that game. The first game of NFL Week 2 will be the Minnesota Vikings +7 on the road versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles, I believe they covered versus the Patriots. I think they won by 5 points. I think the line ended at 4. A short week. I don't want to give too many points for a short week game. Vikings coming off of a home loss to Tampa Bay. Eagles coming off of a road win. So I'm just going to take the Eagles on a money line, right? I feel like the Eagles should win this game. Last week, I took the Kansas City Chiefs at home versus the Detroit Lions on the money line, and they lost. So who knows what happens in these Thursday night games. The next game for NFL Week 2 will be the Baltimore Ravens +3.5 on the road versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Ravens coming off of a win versus the Texans. Bengals coming off of a loss to the Browns. Bengals did not look good. Joe Burrow left the game in the fourth quarter. I don't know if that was injury related or they just had no chance in that game. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens +3.5 points with Tucker. I think the Ravens keep this game close. And, even if they lose by 3, that hook, that 3.5 points, that's going to help me. And I think the Ravens are probably one of my favorite underdogs to win outright this week. So I'm going to take the Ravens on a few money lines and a few other parlays. But for this specific parlay, I'll just take 3.5 points. I think the Ravens could win that game. The next game will be the Chicago Bears +3 on the road versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bears look terrible versus the Packers. I don't know if that's because the Packers are that good or the Bears are just that bad. But I was impressed with Tampa Bay on the road versus Minnesota, right? They won that game. They beat Minnesota on the road. The offense looks good. I'm not a Baker Mayfield hater. Evans didn't sit out. I think the Buccaneers have a lot to prove, and I think they could be a playoff team. So I'm going to take -3 versus the Bears. I'm not impressed with the Bears' offense at all. I'm just not. So I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The next game will be the Green Bay Packers, only -1 on the road versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, in this game, I lean toward the Atlanta Falcons, but I don't want to take the Atlanta Falcons and then the Packers be really good. So I'm gonna have to skip this game. I will be teasing the Atlanta Falcons, up, to 7 points, 8 points, 9 points. But for this parlay, I'm just going to have to skip the game. I lean towards Atlanta, but I'm not going to take them to win this game versus the Packers. Atlanta Falcons, back-to-back home games. They won their first game versus the Carolina Panthers, but they were supposed to win that game, right? And the Packers, back-to-back road games, they won their first game versus a division rival Bears, but we'll see how the Falcons do. But I lean towards the Falcons, but I'm not going to take them in this game. Next game will be the Indianapolis Colts. Interesting. -1.5 on the road versus the Houston Texans. Do I want to? You know what? I'm going to take the Colts. I like their running back. I'll take the -1.5 on the road. I feel like the Colts, they should be better than the Texans, right? There's a little bit of hype behind the Colts. I don't know if the running back is going to play for them at all this season, but Anthony Richardson, is it Anthony Richardson? I know it's Richardson. I don't know if his first name is Anthony, but the Richardson, the quarterback for the Colts, I feel like he's better quarterback than the Texans have. So I'll take the Colts on the road to win this game, right? The next game, wow, this is interesting. The Kansas City Chiefs on the road -3 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars coming off of a nice win on the road versus the Indianapolis Colts. Kansas City Chiefs coming off of a loss to the Detroit Lions at home. So for that reason, I just got to take the Jacksonville Jaguars +3 points at home. It seems like a lot of points for a home team. I'm assuming that Kelsey plays in this game, but Besides Kelsey, I don't believe anybody on that receiving core could catch a ball. So I think the Jaguars have a high-powered offense. The Jaguars are trying to prove that, them going to the playoffs last season wasn't a fluke. I think they're trying to move into that Cincinnati Bengals lane, right? There's an opening there because we don't know how good Cincinnati is going to be this season. I think the Jaguars are trying to make a statement that they're, one of the top five best teams in the AFC. Right? I don't want to put them in the top two already, but I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to say that they're like top five teams in the AFC. So if you're gonna give me 3 points at home for the Jaguars, I like the Jaguars. I'm a fanboy of the Jaguars, so I'll take the Jaguars. And we don't know if Chris Jones is playing for Kansas City yet, so that defense I'm not too crazy about. The next game will be the Los Angeles Chargers on the road, minus 3.5 on the road. Versus the Tennessee Titans. Interesting. Chargers coming off of a loss to Miami, right? Miami, they look really good. Tennessee just looks bad. They lost, I believe they lost to the Saints, right? They lost to Derek Carr. Saints, I don't know. I don't think Henry had 100 yards in that game. I mean, this could be the game where he throws down 100 yards. But I like the Chargers defense, and I like their offense more than I like the Tennessee Titans. I'm not going to give them 3.5 points for the Chargers. That's way too many points for a road team. So I'll take the Chargers to just win this game. The Chargers probably don't want to fall to 0-2 in this division. Right now, the Raiders are leading the division. So the Chargers want to stay close in that division. You have Kansas City playing the Jags, so Kansas City could lose that game, right? Chargers probably want to stay close and not fall to 0-2 on the season. I think they're better than the Tennessee Titans. I don't see the Tennessee Titans making the playoffs this season, and the Chargers probably shouldn't be losing to a team that's not going to make the playoffs this season. Next game will be the Miami Dolphins minus 2.5 versus the New England Patriots. I'm gonna bet against the Patriots all season. I'm a little worried that this is back-to-back home game for the Patriots, and they kept it close enough versus the Eagles, right? So I don't want to give Miami 2.5 points, right? For that, I might as well just take Miami on a money line. I believe Miami's gonna win this game. I'm not confident in the Patriots offense to keep up with this Miami Dolphins offense. So I'll just take Miami to win the game. I probably will be teasing Miami down a few points. 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, and get Miami to plus odds. But for this parlay, I'll just take the Miami Dolphins to win the game. The next game will be the New York Giants versus the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not betting on either team this season, so I'm just moving on. That was embarrassing what the Giants did Sunday night versus the Cowboys. They didn't score any points, and I think the Cardinals are tanking, so I don't think they want to score any points. So you would assume the Giants should win this game, but there's no way in hell I'm betting on them after losing 40-0 in week one. That's just terrible. Next game will be the Seattle Seahawks on the road, plus 5.5 versus the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, wow, what a win over the Kansas City Chiefs. You think this line would be a little bit higher, right? For the Detroit Lions, 1-0 win over Kansas City Chiefs. Seattle losing at home. They lost pretty bad. It was 30-13, right? Versus the Los Angeles Rams, right? So, Seattle's way better at home, right? And Detroit coming off of a really good win. I don't think they're going to lose to Seattle at home. So I'm going to take the Detroit Lions to win the game. I'm not going to take them on against the spread. I'll probably tease the Detroit Lions down 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, get them to plus. But for this parlay, I'll just take Detroit Lions on a money line. Wow, look at this line. Next game will be the San Francisco 49ers minus 8 versus the Los Angeles Rams. San Francisco 49ers were favorites, right? Favorites. They were favorites on the road versus Pittsburgh Steelers. They covered that game. Now they're favorites on the road versus the Los Angeles Rams. 8 points is way too much for a division game, right? I'm gonna take Kansas City on Kansas City. I'm gonna take San Francisco on a money line. 8 points is a lot of points. The Rams looked pretty good last week. As I said, they beat Seattle on the road, and The Rams were underdogs in that game, so they covered. They put up 30 points. The offense looked, decent. They had some really good runs there. But San Francisco, they should win this game. I'm not going to give 8 points. That's that's 2 point. That's two scores. So that's too many points for me, especially for a division game. And if the Rams were coming off of a loss to Seattle, if Seattle defeated the Rams 30-13, then I would be like, yeah, I'll take the 8 points, right? But no. I'm not going to give too many points for the 49ers. But I'll take 49ers to win on the road versus the Rams. The next game will be, this is crazy, the Washington Commanders on the road plus 3.5 versus the Denver Broncos. If you're going to give me 3.5 for the Washington Commanders, I'm going to take the 3.5 for the Washington Commanders. I am not a fan of the Denver Broncos at all. One of the few bets that I did win this weekend was taking the Las Vegas Raiders plus, I think it was 3 points, plus 3 points versus the Denver Broncos. Raiders did win that game. Back-to-back home games for Denver Broncos. I'm a little worried about that. Washington going on the road. We'll have to see how good Howell is. But 3.5 points seems like way too many points for a team that only scored 17 points in their first game. I'm not crazy about the Broncos offense at all, and I don't think their defense is gonna stop the Washington Commanders offense. So if you're gonna give me 3.5 points, I will take it. I will most likely tease the Washington Commanders in a few other parlays, get it up to like 10 points, and also I'm gonna take Washington Commander and probably the Baltimore Ravens in a few money line picks, because I like Washington Commanders to defeat the Denver Broncos, and I like the Ravens to defeat the Bengals. So that'll be a few underdog parlays that I'll add together. The next game will be the Cleveland Browns -2 on the road versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers, another team with back-to-back home games. A lot of teams back-to-back home games didn't have to leave home, right? But Steelers coming off of a pretty tough loss at home versus the San Francisco 49ers. Browns coming off of an impressive win over the Bengals at home. -2 points. How do we do this one, right? I feel like I should just take the Browns to win on a money line, right? I'm not going to give 2 points. This could be the game where the Steelers come back, but I do like the Browns to win this game. I was definitely a little bit disappointed with the performance of the Steelers in the first game, but San Francisco they're really, really good. But we'll have to see how good the Browns are this season. I'm a fan of Kenny Pickett and George Pickens and Harris. I like the Steelers offense. I just think they may need like another season, at least another season before they get to that position. I think the Browns are one of those sneaky teams. They're probably right behind the Ravens as far as being how good they are in the playoff race this season. But I do think the Browns are better than the Steelers this season. So I got to take the Browns this season on a money line. I have to take it. The next game will be the New Orleans Saints on the road, -3 versus the Carolina Panthers. Wow, how do we do this one? This feels like a game I just want to skip, right? I'm not crazy. Panthers coming off of a loss to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm just not sold on the Saints. A good victory at home, right? They always win at home. They do always win at home, but these two teams, I don't know if the Saints are going to make the playoffs this season. Carolina Panthers, I don't expect them to get too many wins this season, so I think if Kamara was playing in this game, I would be like, I'll take the Saints on the money line, but I'm not sold on Derek Carr yet. Hopefully the Saints do win, but I can't put either team in this parlay, so I'm just going to skip that game. Is that the last game? Oh, that's the last game. Oh, yeah. So 11 picks, nothing too crazy this week. We're going to take 11 picks for this parlay. We're going to take the Cleveland Browns, Washington Commanders, San Francisco 49ers, Detroit Lions, Miami Dolphins, Chargers, Jaguars, Colts, Bengals, not Bengals, Buccaneers, Ravens, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, so this is a quick plus 25,372 parlay, 11 pick parlay, taking the Washington Commanders plus 3.5, the Indianapolis Colts minus 1.5 against the spread, San Francisco 49ers on the money line, Los Angeles Chargers on the money line, Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 3 against the spread, Baltimore Ravens plus 3.5 against the spread, Detroit Lions on a money line, Cleveland Browns on a money line, Jacksonville Jaguars plus 3 against the spread, Philadelphia Eagles on a money line, and Miami Dolphins on a money line versus the Patriots. We'll do a quick, let's say a quick $3 parlay bet. We're going to risk $3 to win $761.17. Nothing too crazy here for NFL Week 2. So, yeah, NFL Week 2. So those are my NFL Week 2 picks. Washington Commanders plus 3.5 against the spread. The Indianapolis Colts minus 1.5 against the spread. San Francisco 49ers on the money line. Chargers on the money line. Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 3 against the spread. Baltimore Ravens plus 3.5 against the spread. Detroit Lions on the money line. Cleveland Browns on the money line. Jacksonville Jaguars plus 3 against the spread. Philadelphia Eagles on the money line. And the Miami Dolphins on a money line. Let me know what are your 2023 NFL Week 2 picks. Who's your favorites? Who's your favorites? Who's your favorite home team? Who's your favorite road team? What's your lock of the week? Who's your upset team, underdog pick of the week? And which games are you looking forward to watching the most? I'm going to tune into the Washington Commanders versus the Denver Broncos. I have so much hate for the Denver Broncos, so I want to see what the Washington Commanders could do there. 49ers and the Rams, tune in real quick to that. Tampa Bay, I want to see how do they look. I definitely will be watching the Baltimore Ravens versus the Bengals. That's going to be a good game. I'll tune in to see what Detroit's doing versus Seattle. And the games of the week probably will be the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Kansas City Chiefs. That seems like a very, very big game. And then the Thursday night game, Minnesota Vikings versus the Eagles. Eagles at home. That should be a fun game. But I'm Jason Bovada. These are my 2023 NFL Week 2 picks, 11 picks. Parlay, risking $3 to win $761.17. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.